Hi. Well, once again, I have something to say, and I think I'm just going to go for it. I don't know how many of you saw. I know that 17 million people saw the video of the doctors who come out to say, "Wait a minute, all of this information you're being given is not exactly right, or according to our experience and what we have seen and what we have done and how we have treated patients." uh, Hydroxychloroquine is effective. We have found it to be very effective in treating patients. There was a lot of impassionate speaking about it. And yet, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google took these videos down. They actually took down the website of these doctors, AmericanFrontlineDoctors.org, I think. They took the whole website down. Because why? They don't like what the doctors are saying. They don't want you to hear the truth. They don't want this information out there. It doesn't fit their narrative. And when I look and see that Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Google, and whoever else has come against the information, then I tend to want to go, well, it must be true. That's not always true, but that's a sort of a rule of thumb these days, because these entities do not want the narrative out there that hydroxychloroquine is good, that it works. They don't want the information out there that it goes against anything that Dr. Fauci is purporting. Now, we know that Dr. Fauci came out in March and said, don't wear masks. Masks don't do you any good. I do not want to see people out there wearing masks. And then recently he's come out with everybody should wear a mask. Dr. Fauci has his own agenda. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I can guess. But what really troubles me is not just the fact that they took these doctors down. What troubles me is the censorship that I see going on all across this country. As some of you know, my Twitter account has been taken down for numerous times. They say I broke Twitter rules. They never tell me which rule it was I broke or how I broke it so that I cannot do that again. I don't think I really broke any of their rules. They just are silencing me. And it's very telling because my husband's YouTube channel has been ratcheted back to the viewership is way down. Part of the reason for that is because they're doing whatever it is they're doing. But the other reason for that is I had a very large Twitter account. I had 89,000 people. And a lot of the people I had were people like Sarah Carter, Seb Gorka, Kimberly Guilfoyle, others who have also a big voice, and they like Bill's videos. And when the people like that watch them, then you get more viewership. And he would actually notice when I put the videos up on my Twitter account, because he would literally see a jump in the numbers. So they had to kill me, my account. And I'm still battling that with Twitter. Um, they recently sent me an email and said, we will look into this and see, what can be done. Who knows whether I'll get it back or not. But the point is, we are losing our freedom of speech in this country. They are silencing people who say things they don't like. They are silencing people who put out information with which they disagree, goes against their narrative. It is not just a political thing. It's not just against the president. It's just in general information they don't want us to have, because they want to control the information that we receive. They want us to believe what they want us to believe. And a lot of people ask me when I do this stuff, all this research, and I do read a lot, is how do you know what's true and what isn't? I mean, I'm not a medical doctor. I don't pretend to even have that experience. Well, first of all, one of the things I look at two things, two basic things when somebody is speaking. The first two things. What do they have to lose in saying what they're saying, or what do they have to gain by saying what they are saying? And for these doctors, in this time, in this climate, about this drug, they have everything to lose. They can lose their standing, they could lose their jobs, they could lose a lot. Their reputations will be trashed. Every little piece of dirt that can be brought up about them is brought up about them. And they could, in fact, lose. I don't think they could lose their licenses, but gosh, I wouldn't put it past them to take away their license to practice. I don't think it would go that far. But when you look at they have all of this to lose in saying this, then you know that what they are saying is at least what they sincerely believe. It is not motivated by politics. It's not motivated by anything, but we really want to get the truth as we see it, as our experience dictates, out to the public. More importantly, we want to let people know they're not being given the full truth. This is very important. Then you look to see, well, why is this person saying the opposite? What do they have to lose? What do they have to gain? And what I see is, on the other side, they have a lot to gain. They gain prestige. They gain accolades. Dr. Fauci is being put up for an award right now as we speak. And that is good for him. It's good for his resume. It's good for the amount of money he makes. It's good for his position. You know, he has every reason to say what he says in this climate. So I look at those two things, and what that tells me is that he doesn't necessarily sincerely believe what he is saying. Now, some of you are going, oh yeah, well, we knew that. I think it's important to make that distinction. I think it's important to use that as a rule of thumb when you're listening to anybody. What do they have to lose? What is it that they have to lose? You know, Bill's channel gets, well, he put up the video of the doctors, and that video was deleted. But he's not going to stop trying to get that information out there. As I said, I lost my Twitter account. Some people go, well, just go to Parler. No, I'm not going to give up the fight. I'm going to stay in there. I'm going to push this issue because it's not, it is about our First Amendment rights. I have the right to be wrong. I have the right to say something that I believe, even if it's wrong. You have the right to disagree with me and express your opinion that I am wrong. We have the right, we should. I stop myself and say this. We no longer have that right. We no longer have the right to say what we believe, because the minute we say something that goes against their narrative, the globalists, I'll put it that way, they will silence you. You will lose your job, you'll lose your position, you'll lose your channel, you'll lose your in any of your social media outlets. You will lose it. And other people won't ever be able to hear what you think. And we have gotten to a place where if you say one word that they don't like, they shut you down. And they don't just shut you down, they come after you. They come after your reputation. We, the people, were given these rights by God, not by man. We have the right to free speech in this country. This is the only country in the world where we have as many rights, or had. I feel like we don't anymore. And one of the things that I see is people sitting back and saying, well, that's just what they're doing, or that's just that. I didn't really agree with that person anyway, so I'm not unhappy that they lost their channel or they lost their social media. I didn't like them. I don't care whether you like them or not, and I don't care whether you agree with them or not, and they may be saying all kinds of crazy things. They should have the right to say what they believe. There are a lot of people who don't believe in Jesus. I do. But there are some people who don't believe in him and don't believe in God, believe trees are God. I don't know. But they don't have the right to silence me. And that's where it's headed. If we don't stand up and defend these doctors and stand up and defend other people who have lost their voices on social media and fight back, then pretty soon you mention the name Jesus and you will be silenced. You mention God and you will be silenced. You say you have faith in God and nobody will hear your voice. Our voices need to be heard. One of the good things about differing opinions is that it helps you determine what you actually believe. You see this data over here, or this opinion, this information, and somebody says this and this, and you look at the two and you go, oh, well, I'm going to look more into this, or I'm going to think about this, or maybe I am wrong. I don't know. But it's the discussion that helps you come to your conclusion. And if the discussion is all one-sided, if the discussion is not allowed to get out, if you're not allowed to say, I think it was black, when somebody else says they think it's navy, you can't even have that discussion. Then then they can feed you what they want you to eat. And it takes a lot of work and fight to find out what the other information is. We have a right to our opinion. We should. We have a right to be wrong. We have a right to not believe something. But right now, they're only showing you one side. And it was very, very telling during the Russia collusion delusion when some of us knew that that was wrong from the beginning and other people didn't, because all they were watching was CNN, etc. And the only information they were given was information that confirmed their narrative that there was Russia collusion with the Trump campaign, which we all know turned out to be totally false. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of people, a lot of regular, everyday people who became very angry. You told us that he colluded with the Russians. That's why we didn't like him. That's why we didn't want him as president. That's why we were happy he was being impeached, because we believed you, and you turned out to be wrong. And a lot of people left the Democrat Party at that point and left CNN at that point. And MSNBC and all the others who had told them that, they were very, very angry. That's what happens when you're only told one side or one or a mistruth. You know, I see a lot of people online who post stuff up that I know is not true, and I look into it and I am sure, and I find out the truth, and I'll put a comment, this is not true. Now, I don't put a comment that says, you can't believe this, or you can't say this. I'm just trying to let them know this is fake news itself. Because there's a lot of stuff on both sides. People are pushing a narrative, and so they come out with whatever it is. I mean, I know it wasn't long ago when there was a rumor that my husband was dead. Well, that was news to me. But, you know, somebody heard it, thought it, whatever, I don't know, and they put it out there. So he spent a lot of time correcting that and, you know, telling people, no, I'm very much alive. There's misinformation and disinformation out there, but you still have the right to say it. You have the right. Now, okay, you know, slander, libel, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. But if we lose our voice, if we lose our ability to express the truth, if we lose this battle, we are in a very dangerous place. It is going to be very, very, very dangerous. And I just want to encourage people, don't give up, don't give in, keep fighting, don't leave Twitter just because Twitter bans people or Facebook or whatever. Hang in there and fight. Matt Gaetz, Representative Matt Gaetz has filed a criminal referral against Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook for what he's doing. And that, I have no idea where that is going to go, but I applaud Representative Gaetz for doing it. And I think that Jack Dorsey and Twitter. I found it interesting that there was an article the other day that Jack Dorsey is going to have to start charging people for using Twitter because their ads are down. The ads that people run. Well, he's an idiot. His ads are down. They're blaming COVID. I'm thinking, no, it's because you've silenced so many Twitter people, so many people on Twitter that your numbers are down. It's not the ad. The ads, it could have something to do with COVID, but I'm pretty sure that his numbers are down because the numbers of people are down because he keeps deleting them. They came after Alex Jones. They've come after a lot of people to silence them because they are afraid of the truth. They are afraid of the truth. And it's not the truth that sets you free. It's knowledge of the truth. That people say that wrong. They say the truth will set you free. No, it won't. Knowledge of the truth will set you free. They don't want you to have the knowledge of the truth because it will set you free. And that is a very dangerous place for us to be. So I encourage you to keep praying, keep seeking, and keep speaking out. And encourage our senators and representative members who are trying to do the right thing. Just look at the Bill Barr hearing. As he said, I thought this was a hearing and I was the one who's supposed to be heard. They silenced him. They asked him a question, they wouldn't let him answer. They rattled on with their belief about what he did or what happened. They wouldn't even listen to his side of the story or what he said happened. They deny that there is violence in Portland. Jerry Nadler called it a myth. They totally kept saying it's peaceful protest, and the MSN is right there with them saying peaceful protest. And the Republicans showed a video of what actually was happening, the violence and the explosion. And nobody in the media but Fox would show it. Nobody. They turned it all off. They don't want to hear it. They don't want it to be true. But worse than that is they don't want you to know the truth. And that's why Bill and I are dedicated to the best of our ability to bring you the truth. And we are being silenced and squashed down every time we turn around. So I just wanted to say, hang in there, pray, seek, ask, and express your voice, express your opinion. Get out there on social media and say these things. We need to not be silenced, and we need to not be intimidated by the censor Nazis. And that's not all I'm going to have to say about that. Thank you.